Okay, my outstanding, inquisitive, and exceptionally good-looking friends, what are we going to do today? Well, we're going to take a look at a deep gouge over here in Africa. Why is there a deep gouge in there? They're actually talking about flooding this area to make a gigantic lake, and it would make a very, very large lake. And it is quite deep, and it is interesting for the reason that it would exist. So there's two questions to answer here. How did this crater, more or less, form? And secondly, would it be a good idea to fill that thing with water? Both of those are kind of tricky, but I think I have answered the reason how it formed. Maybe. You make your own decision. To fill it with water? I don't know about that. But there is some talk of that. Let's look into this. All right, but this is kind of interesting stuff. And this relates to Velikovsky and his claims about the interaction of Earth and Venus. And I've already explained part of that. And I'm going to continue to just keep going over and over this until it becomes a mainstream discussion. Because what we have been told about our ancient history is just not right. It's absolutely not right. And I am going to just continue to put one foot in front of the other until somebody starts walking along with me instead of walking around in circles. That's what will happen now. Nobody has any idea of what our past was like. This stuff was written about, and now the physical material evidence here supports the statements that were made. And one of them may be supported by this right here. We'll take a look. It's worth a discussion. It may not be right, but it may be right. Who knows? We're going to check. Okay, another shocker du jour. What we're looking at here is a depression. I think they call it the Qatari Depression. We're at minus 55 meters. That's over 110, 120 feet deep, below sea level. They're talking about cutting or putting a tube in or whatever to get water into this depression to make a huge, gigantic lake. Now, as I say, the entire Earth is nothing but biology, and I'm going to tell you right now, if you look at this very, very carefully, which I have, this right here, that right there is an artery, and this right here is a vein. Now let's come in a little closer. You got to put your eyes on. This is round. That's round, totally different color because it's the artery blood. This is the black blood from the vein. And the black blood is here, and the red blood has moved. They separate from each other. They don't like to mingle. So the red blood moves up, the black blood moves down. Sometimes you get it far enough away, you can make it makes more sense. It looks more obvious. That's the circle. That is the artery. That's the vein. That's the only reason it's here. And it runs down this way here. Now, what these blacked out things are, they must have some reason for blocking them out. But this is all biology. This is all biology. And there's spots that, the black is vein blood turns black like that. And like I say, this is deep. This whole thing is I'm going to tell you right now, I believe it's the guts of some kind of a creature. This is caved in, and this is what the guts are left here. You see this whole area here. And this is the deep part right here. And you go right down really tight on the surface, you can see some very, very strange things. So the reason I was looking at this was because I saw an article saying they want to split open a pathway into here and make another giant lake in the middle of the Sahara. Is that a good idea or a bad idea? Well, let's look into it. You know, the more I look at this, the more I think that we could have been hit again by Venus or some other really serious impact, and it pushed all this stuff this way. You see, like this is almost like an abrupt transition, and all of this stuff looks like it got pushed over this way, because then you get all this goopy looking stuff over here. It's just sort of a mess. But right here it pushes, I believe. Now let's go back this way. This is where the big gouge is, running right here. This stuff runs down. The elevation here is 16 meters. Down in here, we're at minus 77 meters. That's a pretty good drop. So this stuff is running off of the gouge that was created here. So we're below sea level quite a bit here. Now they're talking about bringing water across or something, somehow flooding this from sea level to minus 77. You can make a pretty big lake here. Good idea, bad idea, I don't know. But I got a feeling this could have been an impact zone. And pushed all this stuff over here and made this big gouge. And at the same time, could have caused the ocean to drain out of here, whichever, you know, there's a lot of swishing and swashing going on here. Look at all this stuff. What happened here? Look at this. There's a lot to look at here that's not, I don't think it's ever been looked at very well. It's just a biological mess. I got to be honest with you. There's a ton of biology going on here. To me, this is, well, there is nothing that isn't biological. That's my claim. If you can show me something and prove to me that it's not, that it is not biological. There's sedimentation. There's erosion. Yes. There's all kinds of different transitioning of biological stuff. But it's all started out as biology. Even Bennu, the sample they just came back to Earth with, 100% heart. It's a heart, 100%, no question about it. And they have it here on Earth. It's got the heart sarcomeres, it's got the membranes, it's got all the amino acids, it's got everything. And they say maybe it brought life to Earth. No, it is a heart. It's in space. These creatures were absolutely enormous. Mars got destroyed, and it had all life is just like us on there. Because I have seen it, I found it. The Mars blueberries are nothing more than the same as the Moki marbles. The Morse code is nothing more than a big artery with the little veins, I mean all the little arteries sticking off to the side. And then a vein right next to it. That's the Mars crab. Then they have the Mars Morse code. It's nothing more than the interstitium with all the balls and the straps together. It's all right there. And then there's a huge, it's all the sarcomeres are up there. It's no question. No question what it is. The question is why won't anybody look at what's right in front of their faces? That is the question. So I don't know if filling this up is a good idea or not, but it looks like that might have got whacked. I'm telling you, the Grand Canyon, as far as I'm concerned, no question about that one got hit, and this one would be hitting this way. The Grand Canyon appears to have hit this way, you know, more or less coming down this way, and knocked all the stuff out of the Grand Canyon into Mexico. The Grand Canyon didn't go nowhere. Same thing with the other one. How did that big depression get there? Where did all the stuff run out to? It has the same stuff as here. It has all the same layers. This is actually got body tissue everywhere. It's body tissue. This is body tissue. All right, and it's very similar to what we were looking over there too. This has ripped the guts out of something. And it came in this way. And that would have literally stopped the Earth from spinning, because it would have hit against the spin of the Earth, against the bash of this. Created all kinds of havoc, and the Great Flood was a product of this as well, of this impact. I believe that's what I'm taking from it. And all of the ancient texts had this at 1500 BC approximately. And that's Velikovsky did that work. He went through the whole history of everywhere in the world, and they all had basically the same story. Now, what happened here? And he said it came back later again, Venus, and hit us again. Now, could it have been here, and this time going that way? Because that's probably it would have banged off and it came back around. I don't know, who knows. But as far as I'm concerned, that is biology. What it's from, I don't know. What part of the body, I don't know. But there's all these layers of tissue. That I do know. All right, and all that stuff got ripped out of here and went somewhere. You don't end up with a big cavity like this here without it going somewhere. And you see here, like I say, these layers of tissue, just like everywhere else. Layer, 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 layer. You see? Up here we're at 211 meters. Down here we're at minus 39 meters. Where did all that go? Where did that go? Did it go up in the air? No. It's all missing. Way up here we're 200 and something meters. Down here we're minus 75 meters. Up here we're at 211 above. That's a lot of meters to go, to drop down. Where did all that stuff go? It didn't just evaporate. Something went and gouged it all out, and I believe it gouged it out and pushed it this way. And whatever was here before is now splashed out this direction. And then you get this kind of stuff. Yikes. I spend a lot of time on Google Earth. It's just fascinating as it could possibly be. It's time consuming, but